here, and I've got the Lord Mayor. Right to go? Okay, we're right to go. It's 4:30. We have the Finance and Governance Committee meeting, and the first thing I'd like to do is actually acknowledge our new Director, Mike Reynolds. His first time in the hot seat, so let's not be too hard on him on his first day. And we have an apology from Alderman Sexton. He's been held up on his trip back from Launceston. We haven't heard from Alderman Thomas. We have the Lord Mayor here. Someone move to co-opt the Lord Mayor, please. Moved. All those in favour? That's carried. No one against. Confirmation of minutes. Someone going to move?
I'll move.
Lord Mayor. Anyone against? No one against. Items carried. Consideration of any supplementary items. There's none. Indication of conflict and pecuniary interest. There's none. Transfer of agenda items. There's none. Reports. The 2021 annual plan. Open for discussion.
I'll move that.
Moved by the Lord Mayor. Any other discussion? There'll be no further discussion. I'll put the item. All those in favour?
Aye.
All those against? Aye. I'm against. So we'll have a show of hands, please. Who's in favour? Someone note that, please. Okay, and I'm against. Okay, that's it. And we go to the revised of City of Hobart Code of Tenders contract.
So moved.
Moved by the Deputy Lord Mayor. Any discussion? I think it's a reasonable report. No discussion. I'll put the item. All those in favour? All those against? The item is carried. Let's get to the next one. 6.3. Procurement Quotation Exemption Report.
Move that as well, Chair.
Moved by the Deputy Lord Mayor. Any discussion? Been really easy on our new Director today. That's good to see. There's no further discussion. I'll put the item. All those in favour? All those against? The item's carried. We're going well. Grants and benefits listing as of the 30th of June. It's...
Is that a receive and note?
Receive a note. That's basically what it is, just more information for us. So is there someone moved to receive a note? Is there any questions? It's a general sort of, really a report that we normally get. So anyone moving it, please? Moved by Councillor Coates. No discussion. Been no discussion. To put the item. All those in favour? All those against? The item's carried. A customer service complaints and compliments report. Quite interesting read. Moved by the Deputy Lord Mayor. Any further discussion? Be no further Councillor Coates.
Just discussion. Look, it's always worth complimenting staff when the ratio of compliments to complaints. I'll add to the compliment. I think it's really good and pleasing to see and reflective of the high level of service that our staff generally deliver. I know they don't get it right 100% of the time, and no one can, but when you read these things and you look at, the level of positive feedback we receive, I think that's a really good reflection on the professionalism of Hobart City Council staff.
That's very good comments, Lord Mayor.
I'm just wondering, are you planning to kind of promote any of the compliments anywhere, like to the staff, or do you use that for internal communications?
That to the new Director?
Sorry, to the new Director through you, Chair.
Okay, that's fine. Director, you're new on the block, but the question from the Lord Mayor is, are you going to, I think, work through staff and promote through staff?
Through you, and thank you, Chair. I'll talk to the Director of City Futures about that, but I believe that to be a good idea if we can reflect the positive comments coming back to Council and make staff aware of those more generally to encourage their continued good work.
Yep.
I actually just want to add to the Lord Mayor, because I think it's a very good point made by the Lord Mayor. Maybe if all the staff aren't aware of this, probably an email out to staff would be appropriate, and that way they're made aware of it, just as a thought, nothing on the record, but anyway, it's there. Okay, I'll put that item. All those in favour? All those against? The item's carried. Can someone move to co-opt Councillor Harvey? Anyone against? No one against. Councillor Harvey, you're on 6.6. Okay, and this is the annual elected members representative external bodies. Apparently, there's a number of people that have already put in their written reports. This is an opportunity for some to put their verbal reports as well. Councillor Coates.
Thank you, Chair. Look, I had indicated when they contacted me for Finance and Governance that as a member of Finance and Governance, I can actually give a report in person. So for those watching, of which hopefully there's many, I'm the Council's representative to Taswater. Look, the Taswater, probably two things of note in terms of the City of Hobart. The first one is, I guess coming out of COVID, there was a level of risk associated with the Taswater dividend. The Taswater dividend, reflecting the fact that Taswater themselves didn't see anywhere near the level of bad debts that they had anticipated and had provision for, were able to make a make-up payment on the dividend and also provide surety with the dividends for this financial year, which was great, and subject to any adverse events going forward. The other one is they provided an updated project plan which was distributed through me to elected members, and I believe Taswater make this public as well, but from the City of Hobart's point of view, the interesting thing is they are on track to commence works for 2026 with the sewage treatment plant. So at the moment their main project is the Bruneston. Once that tails off, there's a period where they start the project and they do the analysis and report, and then the main segment of works is meant to kick off in 2026. That is on schedule, and will be of a lot of interest to this council, but also members of the City of Hobart, ultimately as that sewage treatment plant sits down next to Macquarie Point, or on Macquarie Point.
Thank you.
Ask
Lord Mayor.
questions. I am disappointed that it's 2026 before work starts. Was that, I mean, the original...
Sorry, when I say work start, so they provided a project guideline update, and I don't mislead, work has already started, but the bulk of the civil works and the anticipated project expenditure is 2026, if that makes sense.
Okay. I think that's behind...
I can send you a copy of the updated their capital works project schedule, if that makes sense. But yeah, I guess works have started on that project, but
Sure.
when I say works, I mean physical people constructing stuff, deconstructing stuff.
Yeah, and it's just that nothing, I mean, a lot of Macquarie Point is waiting for, in terms of development, is waiting for that project to be finished, including the residential component and a few other things. So it's, and it's certainly, my recollection is that it was sort of expected to be starting before then, but I presume there's nothing much we can do about it now. It's probably in there.
Yeah, look, not wanting to reflect upon Taswater or any updated timelines, but I can get you a copy of the information they provided. Okay. But ultimately, it sits after the Bruneston, the majority of Bruneston works.
Maybe get a copy to the director, and the director can share it amongst all elected members. I think that's more appropriate. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Lord Mayor.
Yeah, I've got. I'm also doing my verbal report,
Yep.
if I can. So I've got a few different committees. I'll try and run through it as quickly as I can. So Council of Capital City Lord Mayors. The reporting period for the request for this information is an 18-month period, so January 21 to June 22. So Council of Capital City Lord Mayors met on 5 occasions during the reporting period, but I don't know whether those, I can't recall whether they were all online. I went to one in Melbourne, I didn't go to the one in Perth, and I don't think I went to the one in Brisbane, but I've been to ones, there's been quite a few online. So 2 submissions were made, the pre-federal budget and the Productivity Commission review into the National Housing and Homelessness Agreement. The current chair is the Lord Mayor of Perth, and there was an agreement to continue the focus areas on climate action, culture and the arts, and housing and homelessness as the sort of three major topics that the group would lobby on. The other one is the Legat General Management Committee. So that's a committee comprised of the President and elected representatives. The Lord Mayor gets an ongoing role on that committee, which is interesting because I guess I've got some continuity right through as different representatives change. So there's been 6 months in the 18-month period. I attended 5 and Deputy Lord Mayor attended 1 on my behalf. And there's been a whole range of things apart from just the management of the actual organisation. There's also been discussions around the future of local government review, the local government election campaign, community health and wellbeing project, ALGA federal election campaign, the workplace health and safety review that came out of the motion that City of Hobart took to Legat, LGAT procurement, all those sort of things have come up in that time. The Premier's Local Government Council, or PLGC, is a high-level forum for discussions between state government and local government on issues of statewide significance. The PLG comprises the Premier, the Minister for Planning and Local Government, President of Legat, and 7 elected local reps from various Tasmanian councils. It's drawn from the GMC of Legat. So there were 2 meetings held in the 18-month period, so a few less, and that's been affected by changes of premiers and COVID and range of things, but COVID-19 has been a big topic of discussion. Also the progress and review of the local government legislation review, the independent living units and lack of progress on that, I guess, regional land use strategies, local government reform process, those kind of issues have been discussed. Other ones, the City of Hobart UTAS Governance Forum, which, as you know, we know from previous recent meetings, there were 3 meetings in the 18-month reporting period. That's no longer going to be continuing, but those minutes were obviously tabled and are on our website. The Greater Hobart Homelessness Alliance, so that's a group of 60 stakeholders, although the quarterly meetings would have more likely to be around about 25 to 30 representatives, but the most recent 3-year anniversary of that alliance had a larger group of people come along, including the 2 relevant ministers. So 5 meetings were held in the 18-month reporting period, and a whole range of things have been discussed, and reporting in from Department of Housing of some of their development projects in City of Hobart, the work around the safe night space, and some of the issues around social housing projects and rejection of them in not so much our municipality but other municipalities in the southern region, advocating for rental affordability and reform and the short-term accommodation, the issue of the extreme weather protocols. So all of those have been topics of discussion. Others are Mayors for Peace, which is just a financial membership, nothing to report during the period, no meetings of any sort. And Sister Cities Australia, that has not been active during the reporting period either. So that's all of them.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Deputy Lord Mayor, got anything?
Yes, I do, and I just might add that I have attended on the Lord Mayor's behalf, as she's already stated, but I don't think you mentioned the Greater Hobart Housing and Homelessness Alliance, as well as the Legat meetings or the GMC meetings every so often, so there's probably not much more to add. I'm on the Heritage Accounts Special Committee, and that had a round of grants earlier this year, last financial year, And we also appointed a member of staff, Ms McDonnell's, on the committee as well. The Hobart Active Travel Committee, which was the bicycle committee, but its purview has broadened, and a lot of the discussion was around what sort of benefits we could have during the COVID period, whether there was any sort of work to be done to improve that access. Of course, the scooters are part of the topic of conversation, and we've had a number of presentations in relation to e-scooters, and also around other things such as roller skating and other forms of transport. The Hobart Access Advisory Committee, so I'm on that committee, and Alderman Barakis chairs that subcommittee. And again, we've grappled with issues of non-compliance with outdoor dining areas, and that's partly why I had that query last night at City Planning in relation to access and what sort of input is a regular thing from the Access Advisory Committee on projects that the council might do, but also with how we can do planning applications and development applications a bit better. So that's been meeting on a 2 or 3 monthly rotation, and is a really active, again, talking about scooters. E-scooters has been, there's been quite a lot of input from committee members and those who attend that committee, acting on the behalf of others. Yesterday, Chairman, I attended the Southern Tasmanian Councils Association meeting. I am Deputy Chair of that and Chair of the Regional Climate Change Initiative, which is really that emphasis and the bulk of a lot of the work that the STCA does, the good work in relation to climate change. And I might just add that we, as this council did, endorsed the Regional Coastal Hazard Strategy, which is a really important document, and it's had endorsement from most of the southern councils, but also I'm really pleased to say that we've had endorsement by the northern councils and the northwestern councils. So it's a really good way of being really collaborative regionally on really important issues and being ready, climate change ready, and knowing whose responsibility and where the responsibility lies, not only for councils, but also the Crown and individual landowners. The other thing that the STCA has been asked to do is to work on the Southern Tasmanian Regional Land Use Strategy, and that received endorsement to work to accept that funding to go ahead with that Regional Land Use Strategy work, which is long overdue, as you're aware, Chair. In relation to, it's not listed here, and I'm not sure if it needs to be reported, but both myself and Councillor Harvey are council nominees to the Risk and Audit Panel, so I don't know if we need Mr Jackson to report.
It's internal one, sorry.
Report to that? Well,
External bodies.
That's internal.
Yeah, that's an internal group, and I guess, excuse me, the other thing to mention is that the minutes of that committee of the Risk and Audit Panel do go to council as well, as a matter of course, anyway.
and the Active Transport Committee and the
Risk and Audit Panel go to a council meeting.
Yep.
I actually listed on an agenda of the council meeting as opposed to being circulated to elected members.
Yes, and as you were on that committee too, Chair, and the Lord Mayor's also stated that the City of Hobart and UTAS Governance Forum has been disbanded, so we don't have responsibility or the need to attend those, thank goodness. And I think that's all from me. Thank you very much.
Councillor Harvey, you got anything you'd like to report on?
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, I sit on 8 external committees, most of which are defunct, I think. First one's Climate Change Roundtable. I don't think this committee exists anymore, or they haven't been inviting me anyway. So that was a committee that consisted of the environment ministers from each state and territory and representatives from capital cities. I think we met 4 times over probably a year and a half, but we haven't had any meetings for a while, and I do understand that it no longer exists. A number of changes of government as well have occurred in that time, so we'll scratch that one off the list. Second one's Cycling South. The committee's met regularly, and it's a committee that provides good feedback to other councils and also to discuss submissions and other contributions towards cycling matters in the south of the state. The Hobart Active Travel Committee meets regularly, chaired by the Deputy, and that's quite a valuable committee that I enjoy attending with a wide range of stakeholders and interested parties. The North Hobart Parking Review Working Group, I've never been invited to anything there, and I don't think the committee exists anymore, or not to my knowledge anyway, so I'm not sure what's going on with that one. Salamanca Market Stallholders Association is a very good committee of which I'm the chair, and that meets regularly, and it's a really excellent platform or conduit between stallholders and the council, and it's demonstrated a really excellent relationship between the stallholder committee and the council employees. So they've been working together for a long time, and I think it's a really successful committee. Next one's the Southern Tasmanian Council's Authority Waste Strategy. I don't think I've been on that since about since when I first got elected to council, so I've got no idea whether that exists or not, so I'm not sure why I'm still on it. I have received no details or invites, so I assume it no longer exists, and it would have been superseded by the Regional Waste Authority, which was set up just recently. The COVID-19 Reference Group, which I was a proxy to, I've never been invited to anything, and I have no idea whether it's met or not. So I don't want to be on that one anymore.
Are you cursed when it comes to these groups?
I think we need
Are you a bit cursed when it comes to these groups? I
get all the shit ones, yeah, that don't exist. The Taste of Tasmania Advisory Group, I was also a proxy on that, but it's never met. And I have no idea what it does. And I've never been invited to anything. So there's only really 2 committees that I'm interested in, or 3. Two. Salamanca Market Stallholders Association, working with the council, which is an excellent committee, and the Cycling South and the Hobart Active Travel Committees. They're the only 3 that are really active, and the rest I've got no idea what they do. Yeah.
Thank you. I'll just report on mine. I'm a proxy on 2 and never been asked to attend as a proxy, and my other 3 have never met, and mine was with yours, so I've got nothing to report.
I could have saved 10 minutes by saying that, yeah.
On Lord Mayor.
Can I just say, can we do a bit of a governance sort of clean up of those? Because it had all the traffic committees on the list as well, which had been disbanded like 5 years ago.
Lord Mayor, we'll change the recommendation if you wouldn't mind. So may I suggest that the information contained in the verbal elected minutes be received and noted, and officers give consideration to amending some of the outside bodies or something like that. Okay.
External committees, yep.
Okay, Lord Mayor, you moved that
Yep.
as a complete motion now?
Sure.
Okay, all right. All those in favour? Aye. Sorry, Deputy, before I put it. Yes,
Yeah,
Deputy.
so the City of Eisteddfod, I mean, I'm proxy to a lot of these and have never been, on my list, and have never been along to those. And including the COVID-19 reference group. So, Mr. Jackson, do you know exactly what the story is there? Did we have that as a council thing?
With the COVID-19 reference group, through you, Chair, I understand that was set up right at the height of COVID, or right at the beginning of COVID. In those sort of early stages, I guess, when meetings were going online and meetings were being abandoned and things like that, and decisions were being made, I guess, at that really sort of that really initial stage of the pandemic. And I think the intention was that group was there as a sounding board, I guess, for the general manager at the time. But I'm not sure to what extent it was necessary to convene that group, if at all.
Yep.
Anyway, so...
And just a subsequent question, so obviously, like the tidying up of this list, but are we still looking at an overhaul of committees, like the committee structure that we have for council, and presumably we'd have,
look,
when we do...
Deputy, sorry to interrupt.
I'm
sorry to interrupt. I'm chairing the meeting. I don't think it's relevant to this particular point. You're talking about our current committee structure. This matter is about external bodies, so I'm not going to allow that discussion.
Can I just ask a question which is really just to help my understanding?
Okay, that's fine, but,
yeah.
but as long as it's relevant to the item we're discussing.
So when that tidy up occurs, is that likely to sort of fit into the new divisions, or like have a sort of clearer pathway as well, or can that, through you, Chair? Hope that question's all right.
Look, it's probably something we'd have to take on notice, but I guess, yeah.
It just kind of makes it easier for me to understand when Mr. Reynolds is looking after sort of Cleary's Gates, and like where that all kind of fits in as well.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Deputy. Mr. Jackson will take that on notice, as he said. Any other questions? If no other questions, I'll put the item. All those in favour? All those against? The item's carried for receive and note and some actions. Okay, committee status report. I'd like to make a point that item number 10 has been actually completed. So when we go through receiving and noting this or any questions, that has been completed. So anyone like to move to receive and note? Lord Mayor, any questions? Been no questions. Put the item. All those in favour, all against? The item's carried. Is there any questions without notice? Councillor Coates.
Thank you. I've got a few questions. The first one, as a matter of governance, what, if any, actions has council taken in regards to election signage going up outside of the prescribed period?
Director's taking it on notice.
Thank you. I've got some more questions. I'm not sure if anyone else has any. Look, this was raised in an item a few weeks ago now, or last week. We engaged a firm, Zilla and Brook, a PR firm, and it came out that this was a Melbourne-based firm. And so one of the questions is, how much did we pay this PR firm?
Take it on notice.
Another question, as a matter of governance, did we try and test the market locally before we engaged an interstate firm?
Test the local market. The director's taken it on notice.
Another one, given the obviously the topic, did we attempt to engage a First Nations firm?
Been taken on notice.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Any other questions, Mr. Sorry, Councillor Coates. Sorry.
No,
No, it's all right. I was just getting to that. Deputy, questions?
Subsequent to that question, do we have a First Nations procurement policy, or have we considered that previously?
Take it on notice. No other questions? If no other questions, the questions have been asked will be taken on notice. Someone will receive a note, please. Moved.
Sure.
Okay. All those in favour? All those against? Thank you. And someone move to go into close, please.
Moved.
Lord Mayor. Anyone against? No one against.